Hello, my name is Daunte Wint, and I will be showcasing my water level control mechanic. Now, the way the water level control mechanic works is by pressing a lever, this water level lever, and it will raise the water level to the next set height, and we can do the same to lower it. And this certain water level has three heights. There is a kill volume in the water level, so if the player drops into the water, they die, and there are floating objects in the water that the player can step on to get across. I also made gates that respond to levers, just so that way I don't have to make them later when I'm actually making my level. And yeah, we'll now break down the code. The code will start with the water level control. Starts all the way back here off of the event activate, which the water level um which the water level activator will send out that we made, which is this lever. It will cast to make sure it is the lever, and if it's true, it'll get its location if it's down or if it needs to go down or if it needs to go up. And then this will make sure this code makes sure that the index doesn't go out of the array because we set the location index. It starts at 0, or it starts at whatever number we set it at, but right now it's starting at 0. We de-increment it to go down, increment it to go up, and yeah, this just these to make sure set it to make sure it doesn't go out. So if it ever goes above or below 0, it sets it to 0. If it ever goes above 0, we just set it to 0 again. Now this sets the start location of the water. So we'll set our start location from the location root, which is here. We just get the location, and we set the end location from the last index, or from the index. We just get it based off of that from this array. Then we play the timeline from start, and we have a for each loop for the floating objects. We have an array of the floating objects that we add to the controlled water, and for each floating object, it'll run this code, which sets the water height. It also gets the target location or the target height from just getting the end location of the water. Now in the floating objects, from the set water height that we just set from the water control, we get the target height and we set it off of the offset, which is how far in the water we want the object to float. And we set that target height and we make sure that it is not less than the minimum height. If it is, we set the target height to the minimum height, and we make sure if it's false, we set the target height. We make sure that the target height isn't higher than the max height. And if it is, then we set it to the max height. If it's false, we just plug it in and we set the target height, which is this, which is what we were just checking to make sure that it's not higher or lower than the minimum height or the maximum height. And we get these just from the static mesh, the location, the X and the Y, because we don't want it to move side to side. And we set the starting location from the static mesh. And then we play it in the timeline. And the reason why we needed the starting location and the target location is to lerp it through this timeline for the objects to float up and down. For the gate, we just made 3 static meshes that connect to each other, and we have a timeline. So on event activate from the gate for the lever, or the lever gate, we will check if it is down, which it is by default, and then we play from start and play from the end. If it isn't down, so if it is down, we'll always start and play from the start. If it isn't down, then we will just reverse it to bring the gate down, back down, and close it. The start location and the end location are, the start location is where the gate starts, and the end location is where we want the gate to rise to. And then we set the relative location for the middle door, which is the gate, and that just makes it go up or down using the lerp. And then when that is finished, we run this, which sets is down to whatever it wasn't. So it'll get is down, And then if it is down, we'll set it to not down, and then that sets is down to not. So next time it will reverse and drop down. That is my mechanic.